Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. Always a pleasure to welcome the carvers from the Wilderness Center Wood Carvers Club. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We have got David Chapman and Ken Grigsby with us this morning. David, what is your role there with the Wood Carvers?
I'm officially the Secretary-Treasurer. That's my official capacities as far as the administrative part of it. But I'm just like the rest of them. I like to make wood chips.
Mm-hmm. And Mike Wood chips, yes. Ken, what is your role that you fulfill there?
I'm just a member. I've been associated with the club for somewhere between 3 to 4 years now.
What brought you into it?
I've belonged to some other groups, but I'd run across this group before. I had always been to the show off and on, but what brought me to them was more the fact that they did a lot more of an educational standpoint as a club than some of the other clubs did, and that's what drew me there.
Very cool, because I think, David, a lot of times people think, well, this would be really a nice skill to have. You know, you don't want to see this kind of an art die out. Is there a way to learn, and how good do I have to be at wood carving to join? Tell me about that.
I tell people if they got a will, we can teach them the way. It's like any other skill. It's a learned thing. And if you've got the patience and the tenacity, we are more than willing to help you through those hoops to get as proficient as you want to be.
You've got a lot of really great wood carvers that are members. Tell me a little bit about the membership.
Well, you're talking to one of them, not me, but Ken is a phenomenal relief carver. And he and his wife travel around and take pictures of interesting architectural buildings, like old water mills and things of that nature. And then he takes those photographs and makes them come to life in wood. And he has a real gift at that.
I loved how at the beginning you said I like to create wood chips, but Ken, let's talk about how you go about creating something in relief, because you have to see a picture in your mind and then take away everything that shouldn't be there.
Exactly.
Rather than carving what should be there, you're carving out what shouldn't be there anymore and leaving behind the picture.
That's exactly right.
How do you think that way?
Well, I definitely have to have a sketch, or a picture. I can't, I'm not an artist to sit there and draw myself. So, but once I get that sketch transferred over onto the wood, I don't know, it comes natural. There's a technique of basically starting the deepest and kind of working your way out towards the surface of the wood. And but you have to have some vision. It is true. You need some vision of the dimensions and also the
being able to see in 3 dimensions.
I would think you'd have to be able to see ahead, like think ahead 3 or 4 steps.
Well, you definitely do, because otherwise you might cut away of some piece that you don't want.
Right.
To be away. So you've got to get a feel what different points are depths. Probably for a beginner, it's probably best to take just a sketch of it on paper and then start putting some of those depths, so you're thinking through that process on paper before you take it to the wood. Then you kind of know which numbers you're going to start taking away.
Did you ever do backwards, where you carve a picture into the wood rather than out of the wood?
There is a technique to do that. I've not. I've ran across a gentleman down in West Virginia who took a class in that, and that kind of is reverse thinking at that point. And it'd be a challenge. I have not tried that myself.
So it's easier for you to think to create something out of something rather than into something.
Yes. Yeah. Oftentimes, if you use that process, you run out of wood. You end up going through the back of the wood.
Sure you would, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you drill a little hole.
Yeah.
So tell me how long you've been doing this, Ken.
I'm going on 9 years now.
And where did you learn it?
Well, actually, my wife bought me after I retired from Timken, she decided I needed something to do. So she bought me a 2-day class at a woodcarving show up at Sauter Village in Northwest Ohio. And so that was my birthday present. And from there, I got the bug after that. And I went back and took a class a couple years later from the same instructor. And I took some of my pieces in that I had done because I bought some extra patterns from him. And he took some of my pieces, went over and stuck it in front of another student. I thought, this is kind of interesting. But it kind of just went from there.
Wow.
And today I've got a group going in Carroll County at the Arts Center, the Carroll County Arts Center, and I've enjoyed teaching and helping others learn how to carve now.
How long does it take you normally?
Most of my release, everybody always asks, but it's an hour here, a couple hours another time, another day, so it's kind of hard to keep track. But we're in the order of 100 hours, probably most of my pieces.
Wow. Do you ever sell them?
I've sold a few, yes.
The one thing I know, my father was involved, and he said, I'll never sell anything because at that point, then it'll be a job. Because I don't want it to be work. As long as it's just, doing it for fun and give them away, then he would. But so do you ever feel pressure to get something finished for someone?
I've had some people approach me about doing a carving for them, but actually nobody's actually followed through and made that commission yet. So everything I've done for the most part has been a one-time piece. And even though if I have sold it, you kind of feel sorry that it's gone after it's sold, because
it becomes your baby.
It is your baby, yeah.
It took 100 hours to create. Yeah. Do you have things that you prefer to carve, like nature scenes, or what do you like to do?
Well, as David mentioned a little bit ago, I've done a lot of covered bridges, old mill scenes.
Yeah.
My wife and I have actually gone about 2 years ago. We went up to Ashtabula County and took pictures of all the covered bridges. Then we went down to Fairfield County near Columbus and took pictures of every one of those of all the covered bridges.
Wow.
And then kind of sorting down through which one you think you would like to carve. And some of those will stand out.
And some things maybe adapt themselves better to doing something in relief than others.
Yes, definitely so.
How detailed are they?
Real.
Very, very detailed, yes.
Yeah. My goodness, I just can't imagine thinking that far ahead.
You have to come check him out.
Yeah.
He is very gifted.
You must be like really good at some of those games where you pull the sticks out from under and not make the tower fall down because you're able to see that way or think that way. Well,
one of the things that helps me is I've been fortunate enough to have a feel for perception. So
yes.
That's helped a lot. I had a simple drawing class and coming out of during college, but that helped a little bit. But
was that a gift that you used in your previous employment at Timken, or perception was just something a brand new gift that you got to put to work?
That probably falls more into civil, where I was more electrical and was in management of engineering and maintenance groups. But it just kind of came natural to me because I did a lot of woodworking prior to carving.
Okay.
So kind of looking at how to whether you're just making a small table or some kind of a wall hanging unit, you learn to feel for those steps a little bit.
You're really good at parallel parking, I'll bet. Yes?
Well, I don't know about that.
I'm just thinking things that need great perception. Wow, that's just very, very cool. And you, David, what is your specialty?
Good question. I like them all. But I had back surgery here about 2 years ago, and the doctors wouldn't allow me to carve because of the pushing and pulling while I convalesced through that process. Yeah. And one of the things that is involved oftentimes with carving, especially if you're doing birds or something of that nature where you're having to cut in the feathers, there's a technique that's used with a wood burner. Mm-hmm. And to make those details happen. Mm-hmm. And so I thought this would be a good time for me to maybe hone my skills in wood burning and try to teach myself how to draw, because I often thought the ideas of the shading and the like in drawing would also help me hone some of the skills that Ken has as far as being able to see things in 3 dimensions.
Sure.
And so I used that time to do exactly that, and I got the bug for pyrography. And in the process of working through that and making lots of mistakes, of course, and then keep on going, my wife, let me back up a minute. Some friends of ours took a trip to Israel. Mm-hmm. And while they were over there, they saw a mural in one of the chapels there. And this mural was of the confrontation of the lady touching Christ's garment,
Yes.
wading through the crowd and touching his garment, and was healed. And they took a picture of it and posted it on their Facebook page. And my wife looked at that, and she just fell in love with that picture.
Yeah.
And she comes to me, she says, David, she says, I don't ask for much, but do you think you could possibly, and she shows me this picture.
Oh, my
going,
goodness.
oh, my
Draw this with a
word.
wood-burning tool.
Yeah, and I'm saying to myself,
Wow.
oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Totally intimidated, but there's no way I'm going to turn my wife down. So I said, all I can do is try.
Yeah.
So after 300 hours plus, I mean, I literally took a whole summer
Yeah.
in this I came up with a picture. And when I looked at it,
Yeah.
I knew I didn't do it.
Yeah. I know that feeling.
It's
yes.
great.
Yes.
It's great.
Did you sketch it out first and then follow your sketch lines with the wood-burning tool?
Kind of,
or
sort of.
Mm-hmm.
No, took and downloaded it onto the picture onto her computer, and then we took that and made a photocopy of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to Mer Printing, which is a facility over in Worcester, and had them blow it up to a size that was about 32 by 13 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was kind of blurred and distorted, it gave me a roadmap on where everything should be.
You could follow that.
And then I took and just basically made a rough out tracing so that I had everything in the neighborhood of where it was supposed to be. And then I took the actual photograph and started filling in the blanks.
Wow. So now do you teach others this technique? Is that part of the learning that goes on at Wood Carvers?
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah. I the fact that I was willing to, able to do that,
Yeah.
I tell people, hey, I can teach you to do the same thing, if not better than what I did.
Yeah.
So I firmly convinced of that.
I'm trying to think of a wood-burning tool. Are there different ends that you can
Yeah.
change? Oh, there are. It's
Yeah.
not just a one thing, because I think we
Yeah.
got one for Dad one time so that he could write his name at the bottom of things.
Yeah, you can spend $35 or $25 and get a real basic tool. Mm-hmm. Walnut Hollow, I think, has some real basic tools out there, and they work fine. The only downside to a lot of those, they don't have any kind of a temperature control on them. So in essence, what you have to do is learn the touch. Mm-hmm. But that's even with ones with temperature control.
And that probably is different depending on the kind of wood that you're using, yes?
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because some will be softer and some will take a little more work. It's just all fascinating to me. It's an amazing thing. Do you find that most of the membership has retired from something else, or what is the age of the membership, and who can join?
Yeah, anybody can join. Our age group right currently is we have a gentleman who just started with us last year, and he is so fun to watch. He's like a kid at Christmas time. Everything and every day is a new adventure. But anyway, he's 34 years old.
Oh, there you go.
And then we've got a gal whose picture I think was in this past issue of the Bargain Hunter in the Tuscarawas County area, Stark County area. She's right on the front page. Her name is Wanda, and she is in the Hall of Fame for wood carvers over in Maryland, where their specialty are birds.
Is that Wanda Wetling?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. She's amazing.
Yes, she is.
And she would be up there in age, yes?
She's 86,
wow.
chap.
And still
I
at
think
it.
so, yep.
Still at it.
She still has some health challenges, but she's still got it.
Wow. Yes. Will her pieces be at the Wood Carver Show?
Lord willing, she will be there.
Wow. Wow. That in itself,
Yeah,
as well as the present company here included,
yeah.
but seeing some of Wanda's birds, wow.
She has some ducks and some loons. And so, I mean, oh my goodness.
Just looks real.
Oh my
They do
goodness.
look real.
Yeah, just looks like real
Yep.
fowl and what have you. All right, I'm taking a look at the clock. I knew this would fly. We do need to take a short break. We're going to be back with David Chapman and Ken Grigsby and the Wilderness Center woodcarvers after these words. You're listening to Our Community.